The Maw Beneath. The town of Black Hollow was built on ancient ground. Legend spoke of an abyss, a bottomless pit that the first settlers sealed away with rock and prayers. No one knew what lay beneath, only that disturbing it was forbidden. But greed and curiosity have always been the twin devils of mankind. When the coal mine expanded deeper than ever before, the earth let out a sigh, a deep, groaning exhale as the miners broke through an ancient layer of stone. A cavern lay beyond, swallowing their lights in endless blackness. The foreman, a man named Colton Briggs, felt a shiver in his spine as he peered into the void. "We shouldn't be down here," one of the younger miners whispered. He was right. The first to vanish was Arthur Henshaw, found 3 days later at the mouth of the cavern, his body shredded as if by 1,000 tiny, serrated teeth. His eyes were missing. His mouth was stretched into a silent, frozen scream. The others dismissed it as an accident, until more bodies surfaced. Limbs torn off, skin peeled away in spirals. And then the whispering began. Late at night, the townsfolk heard voices rising from beneath their floors. The sounds of their loved ones long dead, calling, begging, promising. "Come closer," the voices cooed. "Come down and see." The mayor called for an investigation, but those who entered the mine were never seen again. Instead, the pit vomited something else. It started as a black sludge, oozing from the cracks in the earth, twisting and writhing as if alive. Then came the creatures, things of bone and sinew, their mouths stretching too wide, their limbs bending in impossible ways. They did not kill for sustenance. They killed for something far worse, pleasure. Black Hollow descended into chaos. The sky grew darker, the sun struggling against an unseen force. The air thickened with the scent of rotting flesh. Those who tried to run found the roads twisted back into town, the abyss at the mine's core widening, breathing. It wanted them. It needed them. Houses crumbled as the land beneath them gave way. Entire families disappeared overnight, their homes left silent except for the bloodied remains found smeared across the walls. The church bell tolled at random, though no one was inside. A young girl, Clara Hastings, was found wandering the streets with her eyes gouged out, whispering, "It's awake. It's awake. It's awake." The mayor gathered the last of the townspeople and tried to escape, but the roads no longer led where they should. The town had become a labyrinth, the streets shifting, leading back to the mine no matter which way they ran. The whispers grew louder. The air became thick with the scent of decay. Pale, elongated creatures with arms like twisted branches and mouths that split open like blooming flowers, lined with rows upon rows of needle-like teeth. They stalked the survivors through the streets, their black, empty eyes locked onto their prey. They didn't run, they waited. And when someone looked into their eyes, their limbs would go rigid, their bodies betraying them as they walked willingly into the creatures' gaping maws, swallowed whole, their screams muffled as they were pulled into endless black stomachs. Colton, now armed with only a rusted shotgun and a lantern, ventured into the mine one last time. The deeper he went, the louder the whispering became. "You opened the door," it crooned. "Now you must feed us." His boots crunched over shattered bones. The cavern pulsed, alive, the walls shifting as if breathing. Shadows slithered along the ceiling, their movements unnatural, jittery, wrong. He felt something watching him. No, many things. It stretched across the cavern floor, a chasm of endless black, lined with rows upon rows of human teeth. It did not chew. It absorbed. Flesh melted, bones liquefied, and screams echoed endlessly within its depths. The thing inside the pit had never left. It had only been waiting. A shape moved within the maw, something vast and ancient, its many eyes glowing like dying embers. Colton raised his shotgun, but he knew it was pointless. He had seen what happened to those who fought back. The maw did not consume them, it made them. Transformed them into things that still resembled their former selves, but their eyes were black voids, their limbs stretched too long, their smiles filled with jagged teeth that never stopped moving. Colton turned to run, but the floor beneath him softened, hands reaching up from the ground, clawing at his flesh, pulling him downward. His screams joined the chorus of others, the voices of Black Hollow's dead, all trapped within the maw forever. By sunrise, Black Hollow was no more. Only a gaping pit remained, pulsing like a heartbeat, waiting for its next meal. The ground trembled as the abyss yawned wider, devouring the last remnants of the town. But the hunger had not been satisfied. The maw began spreading, cracks forming in the earth across the country. It seeped into rivers, into the wind, into the minds of those too weak to resist. The whispers no longer needed to call people down, they were already inside. The world would soon understand. The maw did not merely hunger. It did not merely consume. It changed. Cities fell. Skyscrapers collapsed into tunnels that did not exist the day before. Highways bent in upon themselves, leading travelers into an eternity of shifting roads, all ending in the pit. Governments tried to fight back. Bombs fell into the abyss, only to be swallowed and spat back in a form unrecognizable, grotesque. Living things made of steel and flame, screaming as they slithered toward their makers. The sky darkened. The stars vanished. The last survivors gathered, huddled in the ruins of what was once civilization, whispering prayers to gods that had already been devoured. But there was no mercy, no escape, only hunger, and then silence. The maw stretched beyond the world, beyond time, beyond existence. It had eaten everything, and yet it was still hungry. It would wait in the blackness, whispering until the next universe formed. Then it would feed again. The maw is eternal. The maw is inevitable, and it is coming. Beyond the end, a distant star flickered, and in its dim light, something moved. Something that remembered. The maw, endless in its hunger, had left something behind. A fragment. A shadow of a world that should no longer exist. The pit still whispered, calling across the void. A new world would form, and with it, new prey. And when they dreamed, they would hear it. The whisper. The hunger. The maw was waiting, and it would never stop. The birth of the next horror, the universe trembled as the first whisper touched the minds of newborn stars. Somewhere, in the black between galaxies, something shifted. It would begin again. Don't forget to like and subscribe and watch out for the next.